Hello, hello, hello. How everyone doing? Mm, right. Hey, how you doing, Quentin?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Um, right. Yeah, echo. You hear echo?
I do not hear an echo.
Say it again.
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, oh, that's I got it.
Ah,
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode. Quentin. Um, I
six
gotta
episode.
do something with the cues, man. I got too many cues in my numbers in my phone. All right. So
I'm the
today is
most
gonna
important
be
one.
right. Today is gonna be a special episode. We're gonna talk the inauguration. We're talking MLK legacy. Um, I wanted to put this up. Um, Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. I never want us to forget, especially our people today. That um, there was other things going on. We'll talk about that, but you never want to forget his legacy. And thank God we won't. We'll be talking about him later, but definitely want to get the elephant in the room before we start. Quentin, how was your weekend?
I had a nice weekend, didn't do a whole lot, but
Mm-hmm.
I had a nice weekend though. Yeah. How about yourself?
It's good. Yesterday saw the movie with you. Um, I
Yes,
think
we did see a movie.
yeah, yeah. We posted the
That was a
social
good
media.
movie, by the way.
Huh? Yes, we
It
went
was
to
a
go
good
see.
movie too.
Yeah, we went to go see one of them
One of those
days.
days.
And to get there, it was
Yeah,
definitely one of them days. The N train
it
kept
definitely.
having to be delayed because there was a fire on Ninth Street. Um, so yeah, but
The weather,
the
the
next,
snow,
oh yeah, the next
it
four
was a
years
lot.
is gonna be one of them days. We're gonna have one of them days. Um, because yes, it is official. President Trump is now the 47th president. Um, but read what that says right there. Read that caption I just put,
It says we survived him before and
and
we will
we'll
survive him
survive him
again.
again. So many people didn't want this day to happen. I didn't know. My sister said that, turn off the TV at 12 o'clock and everything. And clearly, I couldn't because I wanted to um, watch it because I wanted to get some notes and stuff and watch it. And I'm a social buff. I love American history and stuff and tradition, um, but a lot of black women was protesting today. I don't know if you heard of, and rightfully so. Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Um, there's so many people, so many reasons why. we got here with Trump being in. Some people said that she came in too early. No, came in too late. She
Too late.
was focused more on democracy and not inflation and stuff. And some people thought it was just she was a woman of color, and they wasn't ready for that. I don't know the exact reason, but I definitely feel heavy with the she was a woman of color. Um, Let alone just a woman as well, because I'm not, Hillary was a white woman, didn't get the job done. Um, Things played a role in that too, but you know, um, how did we get here, Quentin? How you think we got here?
I have so many theories, so many thoughts on how it even came to be. Um, I think for her part, Kamala Harris did what she could do in the time that she was given. But I do think that there were some mistakes made as far as the way her campaign was ran. And I'm not saying like her, but like the team behind her, because
Hmm.
she had to, in order to keep the money that had already been raised for Biden, she had to keep the same team. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of that was where she kind of had a downfall because the team kind of went in with this approach of not wanting to play up her womanness or her blackness too much. And so basically, she kind of ran her campaign as if she were Joe Biden, part two, or like if she was a
Hmm.
white man. And so I don't think that she connected to some of the people that she could have connected to had she been allowed to actually be her full self instead of having to run a campaign as a black woman, but doing it like she was a white man. I think that's part of it. And I think some of the background people on her team didn't reach out to some of the people in the on the ground, like some of the local community leaders, because they got a lot of money. They raised a lot of money, but they put a lot of that money into areas that weren't necessarily touching the ground people. And so I think that could have been an issue. And then on another level, I mean, she did have being a woman and a woman of color against her in America. I mean, we like to say that we've progressed so much, and in ways we have, but the last few years have also shown us that there's a long way we still need to go
Oh
and
yeah, that's
a lot
there's
of issues. And, there are people who still have certain feelings about people, about women, about minorities, about lots of marginalized people. And that stuff is starting to come back out, come back to the surface.
yeah.
So there's a
It's
lot of
it's like
factors.
it's like hate is entering back the White House. I looked at the inauguration today, and God was the talk of the town. Everybody, pastors, rabbis, Baptists, praying. There was a lot of praying going on. And I'm watching Trump, and he was not looking like he was giving two craps about that. But God definitely was the center of there was so much prayer going on. And he said something during his inauguration speech that he's back because God saved him because he wanted to make America great again. And I'm like, I God can use, your enemy as a footstool. God can, use use evil for good sometimes. But and the first time, at my church, they was like God is using him for a reason, and 2020 was hell. I don't know what the reason was, and I was figuring out every day, okay, what's going on? Now they're saying the same thing. God is using him again. I don't know what's going to be different because the rhetoric hasn't changed. His speech is still hateful. It's still, you know, um, he's already made plans to get rid of the immigrants this week, Tuesday. He already said, and a lot of people definitely didn't like that. But moving forward, the American government will only recognize man and woman gender. So, you know, I believe him and they or binary, and that would be out the window for what he said. That's what he's saying, that's gonna be out the window.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at all the media today, praise him and everything. But come tomorrow, it's gonna be a different story, Quentin. It's gonna be a different story. The next 4 years is gonna be a different story. But anybody thinking he has really changed, if somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, so I was working today, so I did not get to see all of the inauguration and stuff,
No,
which I'm glad that I got to be shielded from some of that. Yeah, because I did hear, like you said, a lot of people were saying do not watch it. I didn't really want to anyway, although I did get to see some clips of his speech. And one of the
Mhm.
things that he did say was, like you said, and it stuck out to me about how God saved him during that assassinate. I'm gonna put quotes too, assassination attempt, so that he can make America great again. I will say though, my mom did say something, and it was kind of to the effect that what your church said too, which was that maybe God is using him in some kind of a way, or like, no, no, no. What she said actually was maybe this needed to happen. And for whatever reason that is, maybe people to wake up after whatever he does, or I don't know, but she said maybe this needed to happen for whatever's going to happen after to happen. So none of us knows. We're all going to be on the same roller coaster
Yeah,
together,
we're
and
all
we're gonna find out together.
yeah. Like me turning off the TV today, I'll be turning off my TV for the next 4 years because he's gonna say
Yes,
he's gonna do stupid stuff. Why
every day.
act like I'm numb to it now? It's I'm numb to it because he's gonna say and do stupid stuff. He already decided the Gulf of Mexico will be called Gulf of America. I, you know,
Uh,
so yeah. Um, but yeah, well, of course, this is not a political show, but every now and then, you know, we will speak our opinion. You know, um, speak our opinion. Like for example, one thing I wanted to get off. I find it weird how the way this TikTok thing went. It's making him look like he's the hero. But in 2017, he actually wanted to get rid of TikTok, and I guess people have forgotten, um, you know, that he wanted to get rid of TikTok, but now he's the savior of it, and everybody was crying like crazy, posting on Instagram, "Hey, this is my only income and stuff." I'm like, bro, it's not that serious. I see my homegirl Alexis in the waiting room. She'll be joining us shortly. We got to that's enough of Trump, right? Actually, I'm not gonna get the platform for it. But who is gonna get a platform is Dr. Martin Luther King, because
right.
we are gonna talk about, is the dream so alive in today's climate and today's world? There's so many things we could talk about with Dr. Martin Luther King, but I don't want this to be a long episode. Um, so we're going to talk about two that I thought will be relevant: voting rights
Mhm.
and racial wealth gap. Alexis will be joining us for the racial wealth gap conversation shortly, as she
All
puts on
right.
some good lip balm. She can't. She can hear me, but I can't hear her. She's probably cussing me out. But me and you, real quick, we're going to talk about um, voting rights. Actually, let's run it back for a sec. Let's
All
remember
right.
5 decades of a dream. It's been over 5 decades since the 1963 I Have a Dream speech. Um, and in that speech, I took a lot of notes. It was calling for civil and economic rights and an end of racism in the United States. Has that happened? You look at this last election, but you look at it on an everyday basis of has it really ended? Um, I don't. I don't think so. Um, and it ties in with the voting rights. Um,
Yeah.
it's it's becoming a little bit harder for people to want to come vote because they get discouraged and they do everything in their power to make sure people of color do not vote. Um,
Hmm.
in 1965, Martin Luther King pushed for Voting Right Act. It was outlaw that the voting rights practices that took place of the southern states, because it was making sure certain people of color wasn't able to vote and everything. So it was passed into law. But as of 2024 of last year, there's 35 states that have some voter IDs in the books that don't discriminate against voters of color, but it places a burden on lower income people to get those voter IDs. And
Mm-hmm.
because they have to try to take the time out of their day to get those IDs, and it takes away for them the opportunity to vote, so you get discouraged. You anything like my mom, if you got to catch her when she can, if she gets discouraged, she's out. She ain't gonna get back in line,
Mm-hmm.
especially the elderly.
Yeah.
Um, so I look at voting rights back then and how it is now, because you know, we got lucky with Barack Obama. And I don't want to say we can't get there again, but they're doing everything in their power. I know after the 2020 election to get us to vote, it was claimed that it was um, uh, rigged election. He's still saying he's spent the majority of the inauguration talking about how he won 2020. So, what
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like we're still at a time where they're trying to make sure we do not vote, black people?
Absolutely. Before I answer that, though, actually, I
Yeah.
wanted to piggyback on something you said.
Hmm.
You know that quote that you had up from Dr. Martin Luther King?
Yes.
The part in there where it says in there, freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. That speaks very much to the Voting Rights Act,
Hmm.
because the fact that we didn't even have the right to vote properly, we had to actually fight for that to even get it.
Hmm.
That should just be a right that was given, but we had to actually fight for it. And so eventually they gave it, but it was just like, here. And then as soon as they did that, then they've kept on up until today, up until this very year, still trying to put barriers on. I mean, they've got things like in the stuff that you mentioned, they've got stuff like in Georgia, if you have people out in the waiting area, I'm waiting area, in the line waiting,
Give them
you can't
water.
give them water or
And I
food or
always wondered
anything.
that. Why? What?
Yeah, little stuff like that. They do little stuff like that, or they will, if there's like a heavy populated black community somewhere, usually they have less voting locations,
Hmm.
or they have to go out further to vote, so that makes it harder. I mean, they do all kinds of little things like that, and it's the same game being played over and over again, and it really is frustrating because I mean, it's still happening, and it's almost like, is this ever gonna end? Is it ever gonna
Well,
be right?
let me ask you this. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, we came out and voted our people, but we voted for the wrong people. I should have got some statistics. I'm not gonna say numbers and stuff, but um, it was
Right.
it was said that a lot of black women, the black men, especially black men, because they didn't trust Kamala Harris, voted for Trump. A lot of Spanish people, um, sorry, a lot of Spanish people did the same for him as well. So it's like, okay, we got it right. People did come out and vote. I mean, we can't really, you know, it's always been known that Democrats usually get the black vote, but the black vote was going towards him. And this is a man that said, what did he say about black jobs? You
What did he
you
say about
remember?
black jobs? I remember he said something about black. Well, he was just talking about black jobs,
Yeah,
but
black jobs.
he was in
Oh, he said
basically
the Spanish.
insinuating like service jobs or black
Yeah, I
jobs.
think he said the Spanish people. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna fact check. I'm gonna have Alexis if she knows that Spanish people, I believe, was taking black jobs,
Right,
and I
right,
was like, what?
correct.
Black jobs. It was just and we're still fighting. We're still fighting to not have a gun to our head. We're still fighting
Hmm.
to make it home safely. We're still we're fighting for you know being able to come to our jobs and not have to be persecuted by the color of our skin, and we're fighting for not being a statistic, or there was another word that it was a good one too, and it just slipped. But every day you're a black man or black woman in America, you're fighting. You're fighting to break the system down to make a better life because this is built for white people. But
Yes.
you can still take advantage of it and turn that into for you. You can still um you can still make a win. It's just some people say it's an unbeatable game, but I guess you gotta be in it to win it. And there's a lot of black people who definitely keep you know Dr. Martin Luther King being one of the best activists. Um, and you just gotta just keep fighting. Use his memory as motivation to keep moving forward. There's a lot of people that was out protesting today. They didn't show it because Trump took off most of the coverage. But there was a lot of people
Yeah.
still honoring his legacies, protesting against President Trump. Um, so yeah,
Ugh.
what more do you think needs to change with voting? And also piggyback. Last year, there was a
Hmm.
lot of young people voting as well. Um, more towards
Or.
I
Hmm.
remember at her university where she did her speech for when she lost. There was a lot of sad young faces, but they came out and voted. So don't ever think that your vote didn't count, or matter. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you can still be active. You can still have your voice heard because you're gonna definitely need it over the next 4 years. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So true. But yeah, I think, I mean, as far as the voting goes, it's so frustrating because all we can do is just keep coming out. A
Yeah,
lot of people did actually not vote this go around too. So that's also one of the reasons why the numbers went a certain way, I believe. There were a lot of people who did not vote. Actually, as it stands, usually most elections, they say that only about a third of the US even votes during elections.
really.
So most people don't even vote actually. And that's over all demographics. Like it's just a lot of people don't vote at all, which means a lot of people either don't care or don't trust the system. That's a whole other conversation.
Well, a lot of people are going to be voting in June. I believe this is the New York City mayor election this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mayor Adams is up for, I believe, re-election, and
I
let's
believe so.
if we get it wrong with Trump, we'll get it wrong. I mean, we'll get it right with Mayor Adams because he he's sticking his nose down at that guy that shot the CEO a while back, and you're a criminal too. What are you doing? So don't think you're better than him.
Right,
The difference is that guy's a good looking criminal and has all the girls throbbing after him. So, um,
right. But we'll see about how that goes, though. But with the voting, though, I mean, all I think we can do is just keep coming out and keep
yeah,
trying to do our thing and keep trying to push back. We've got to keep pushing back. And one thing I will say, too, is that when Martin Luther King was around back in that era, there was a lot more protesting. There was a lot more of people coming together with the same mindset of moving forward. They had a lot more leaders, I feel like him, that were also keeping people, you know, fighting for their rights. And I think we've gotten a little too comfortable. We
yeah,
got a few things now. We got us, we got cell phones, we got
oh yeah.
a little
Listen,
bit of money
all
here or
these
there. And I
everybody
think
was talking.
now we've just stopped fighting like we should.
Yeah, I think I really think the TikTok thing was such a major distraction from, and it puzzles me how, but it goes to show if Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok was to go down, civilization will be they'll lose it. They will lose it. You
They
know.
lose it for a day and
Yeah.
then they get over it. I mean, life still goes on.
Yeah, there was so many videos of saying TikTok's back up, TikTok's back up. I'm like, go outside and play. I don't know, shovel some snow, play with some basketballs. I don't know. I'm just,
Right. Or
yeah.
how about you talk to somebody next to you? That simple.
um. All right, so we're gonna do racial wealth gap. Hopefully, I'm about to put in Alexis. I don't see her in the waiting room anymore. Oh, there she is. All right, so My this is my good friend right here, Quentin.
All right.
All no shade towards Kim, but before there was a Kim, there was a Alexis. Decade of friendship right here, and I love this girl so much. So please help me welcome my homegirl, Alexis. How you doing, sis?
Hi,
Hey,
Alexis.
hey, Quentin.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Alexis, you doing good? How you feeling?
Okay,
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you for being on. I appreciate you.
of course.
Um, so yeah, we're gonna talk about racial wealth gap. That is something that Martin Luther King fought for as well. And we're all fighting for that. I want to, before I'm going to let you start, Quentin, but I wanted to give out a fact that there was this Homestead Act. The Homestead Act was passed on May 20th, 1862, that granted elders of the household, so mainly men, 160 acres of public land for a minimal fee and years of living on that land. Um, Black people was excluded. They was not allowed to be a part of that, and it had me thinking about: are we still seeing that with this affordable housing? Alexis knows I've been trying to, I put myself into this affordable housing, and they're building them up here in the Bronx like nobody's business. Quentin, you know your area as well, in Gun Hill. And when you go on a Housing Connect, one bedroom, in the Williamsburg area, I saw one. It was about $1,000 to $2,000. A 2 bedroom, about 2,000 to 2,500. I'm like, this is the Bronx, right? And I'm like, are we seeing a little bit of of you know the Homestead Act, where they're not getting land, but they are trying to place these into places where they know certain areas in the Bronx cannot afford. But some people are going to move to the Bronx and fill them up, because I see these buildings. There's many white people. I'm not saying black people can't afford that. We can go out and make that happen, but let's be realistic. 2 to 3 jobs is the only way. Scripting it's not going to do it anymore. You know. So what do you think
They've been
about?
pretty good.
What do you think? Are they making it even harder, Quentin, for Spanish and blacks to try to get good housing and live, not like white people, but just live in New York, let alone America?
I think it's always been that way. I mean, even going back to the Homestead Act, like you said, when they excluded black people then,
Hmm.
that led that was supposed to at least let us kind of get a leg up so we could at least try to catch up to where everybody else was. But by not allowing us to get that, it just put us further behind. And I think it's just been one thing after another after another. I mean, going back to banks not giving loans to black people for housing, or also having higher interest rates for cars, houses, things like that, for people of color, but especially for black people. It's like years and years of generational wealth not happening for us. Always
Hmm.
having to start over, every new generation having to start over, every new generation having to start over instead of having something to build off of. And so that just puts us further and further and further behind. And then what you were talking about with the housing here in New York, yeah, I think there's a lot of that too. I mean, may not either have the money
Hmm.
or may not be able to.
Oh, hmm. Quentin is gone. Alexis.
Oh, well, I mean, basically, just to go over what he's saying, like,
Hmm.
we're basically talking about gentrification, like, all the wealthy white people are now coming from Manhattan because they don't want to pay that rent, and they're coming into our neighborhoods
Yeah.
because it's it's cheaper for them, and it's a struggle for us. And it's just like, there's no, like you said, we got to work 2 3 jobs. And then going back to the voting, you got people with kids and nobody daycare costs what $200-$300 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So people are leaving their kids in the house by themselves, or they trying to work their schedules around the job, so they can't go out and do certain things. But the rent being so high, and like you said, in the Bronx, why is a 1 bedroom your living wage got to be between 150,000 to 250,000, and you're paying 2,500 for a 4x4 room? Your bathroom is bigger than your bedroom. Like the walls is
Facts.
paper thin. Like, come on, y'all. Like, let's be for real.
Yeah.
It's but Quentin is back. You can finish.
Mhm.
I got kicked out.
Oh,
But I mean, yeah, it's just it really is kind of crazy. Yeah, the prices are insane, to
ridiculous.
be honest with you. And even part of it too is like gentrification too. I don't know if that's what you already just hit on.
Yeah,
Okay, but how they're pushing people out of their areas
Yeah.
and making things more and more expensive and making it so people who can't afford it just get pushed further and further and further out. I mean, it's
right,
ridiculous some of these prices.
right. Because notice a lot of people was leaving out of like Queens and Brooklyn and the Bronx, and going to the Bronx, and the Bronx started getting more expensive. And then we started going out to Jersey and Connecticut. Jersey got expensive now. Then people are going down to Florida. Florida's getting expensive because as we're pushing out, everybody else is coming in that can really afford it. So now all the places that were not expensive are now getting expensive. People who were living cool down south are now starting to see the struggles that we see in New York. And it's like, it's not fair to them because we running down there. Now they getting the raw end of the stick. But it's just like everybody, we're just bouncing from place to place to place, and eventually it's gonna get to the point where you just gonna be working 2-3 jobs till you croak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
And that's
No,
ridiculous.
I totally agree with you. Alexa, if Martin Luther King was still alive today, what would
highly upset.
he?
Highly upset. He would not recommend this.
In one
Don't say
sec.
third world.
No, I agree with you. In 1961, he did the American Dream speech, and he quoted, "As long as there is poverty in this world, no man can be totally rich, even if he had $1 billion." Um, I couldn't agree more with you. This it's just it's the system which you have to break through. You have to overcome. Easier said than done. You know,
It is.
I know you, Alexis. You're a hard worker. Like you juggle a lot. You don't quit, but they want you to. They do everything in their power to try to break somebody like you that is going to hustle, do whatever it takes to win, because you want that life for yourself that you think you deserve. You do deserve, and you just got to keep pushing. It doesn't matter who's in that White House. You keep doing what you have to do to survive. You keep doing what you have to do to win. Because, at the end of the day, Michael Jackson said it best, and I love that song. They don't really care about us. I love that song, and it's the truth. Um, so you just gotta keep pushing through, keep surviving because it's gonna get really worse in the next. I
And
don't.
that
Go
and
ahead.
that's
It
that
is.
and that's the sad part. And you know what also is like sad to see and sad to honestly stay like in our community. We are really a superior race. Like, we are really superior people. And I now have to say that I have to agree with my father. My father has always said it. Um, we're so used to this one little square, and we're scared to venture out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, all these the white people know that we are superior, and we prove it. Like, look at us in the Olympics. Like, we
Oh yeah.
oversee things and stuff. And he's just like, we they distracted us with the electronics and all this other stuff. They distracted us to keep us from actually realizing we're not even nowhere near or halfway near our full potential.
Mm-hmm.
Like, money is easily to be made. We have talents that we are sitting on, and instead of working on those talents to work for ourselves, we're working for Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So it's like we're also suppressing ourselves, but then it's also because we don't know certain things. Like people generated, like white people can generate wealth and keep it going on for generations. We didn't have that. That was taken from us. We wasn't taught how to build that. My parents definitely wasn't taught how to, teach us how to just save little basic things. Like I was just taught if I want something, you save for it, you work for it, versus make your money work for you. How these other kids are doing it. Like I wish I didn't have to work 2 to 3 jobs to live basic. Like put a roof over my head. I travel different places, like in different boroughs. I don't like the train. I had to get a car. So it's like I have to build on, make sure it makes sense. Like my money has to make sense with me. So not even just trying to live the life that I want. I have to be able to live the life that I need to survive. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's crazy because it's just getting worse and worse. Like I just found out, what, 10, 15 years ago, my mother was paying $500 for rent.
Really?
And we had a good 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom. That sucked, but a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, and we was paying $500 for rent. Versus,
Wow.
right, and we had decent sized rooms. Like I'm talking, it's me and 2 brothers. I had my own room. My brothers had their room, and my parents had their room, and we was good. $500. Now when we are an adult, just to get a 1 bedroom, it's 1,000. Like what? 1,300 for a studio plus a kidney if you want to live good. Because you also got to equate for utilities that are not included.
Exactly.
You got to fight for that too. You got to pay for water, light, heat. If you got gas, like the amenities in these buildings that are going up, you're also paying for that. And it's just like at this point in time, because we wasn't taught a lot of these things, it's not, we don't know it. We're learning about history and stuff. History is going to repeat itself for the time. So going back to what you guys was talking about earlier, yes, history is definitely repeating itself. Martin Luther King would highly not recommend this. Like he would definitely just be like Rosa Parks, stand up and just, yeah, because look at what things are going. Like look at how things are going. We're killing ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
like left and right. Like come
Mm.
on.
It is sad to say that I know he would definitely be upset. The
Yeah,
dream is definitely not fulfilled.
it's
Obviously, we
not.
still want it, but it's not fulfilled. The sad thing is that if you look at some of the things that were happening back then, a lot of them are still happening now. They
It
may
is.
look a little bit different, it may not look
Because
as
it's just
bad as it
our
was.
society now. That's all it is. It's just fitting
Right.
the society now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's we're
But
still going
And
through
a
that
lot
social
of the
shit.
media
same
plays a
things are
role in
still
that too.
happening.
Social media plays a real big role in that as well. And to piggyback off what Alexis says, the minimum wage went up in January. It goes up every year.
Yeah,
What
and
you,
guess what? Inflation's gonna go right up with it. Like nothing
what you,
Right.
changes.
I gotta, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it went up to $16.
Yeah, some places went up 16,
For
but
New
it's not.
York.
Yeah, it's for New York, and it's not the whole New York. It's just the
Yeah,
5 boroughs. Because I also
Right.
learned that
yeah,
too. Like outside, like
16.50.
right, and that's still you're still not
Which
really
is
seeing that.
crazy.
You're still really not seeing that.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand is that we're making money for it's going to other countries, and we're so busy about the immigrants sneaking in, but what about the people that actually live here? And
Oh, I could touch on that real well
you
because that's
know
exactly what
what
I do.
about what about them? What happens to them? Why are their minimum wage not being raised?
There's so
Because
many things.
Mhm.
one, I'm gonna go for the cheaper person, and that's what it is. The Mexicans are coming over. They're gonna work. They're gonna work hard for them 2 little pesos or whatever. I can't say it. They're gonna work
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
for them 2 pesos. Versus we're gonna complain for 16.50 because that's not
Hmm.
enough. So why not pay the person who's gonna? Okay, massa, I got this. Go bust the ass for $2. Why not? Excuse me, but come on, let's be
That
for
is
real.
true.
We all would We always sit there and go for the cheaper labor. We're
From a
all gonna
business
go for the
model, yeah.
cheaper labor. So
Yeah.
that's why.
They
And
do that though, but a lot of the jobs they work, I will say in their defense, a lot of the jobs they work are jobs that most people who are from here don't want, like picking oranges in the hot sun in Florida. Lots of, well, people from here do this too, but construction. They have some of the dangerous jobs too, like helping build bridges, stuff like that. Um, so I will say that part of it. But at the same time, to your point too, Derek,
mhm,
when it comes to like money going to other countries and stuff like that, it's proof that we do have plenty of money in this country.
we
We have a
do.
lot of money in this country.
It's just what they
They
want to
always
use
talk
it for.
about our economy is flourishing and everything, which it is. But the problem is that it's staying up here and it's not trickling down to the everyday person. That's why we have, like, I don't know, maybe 10 billionaires who live here who are worth more money than all the rest of us
Put
combined,
together. Okay.
which is
Amen.
sickening.
Which is two things to piggyback. I'm glad you said that. At the inauguration, I'm seeing Bezos there, Facebook.
Hmm.
They're all just kissing the ring. Jeff Bezos can't even pay his people living wage.
Right.
Jeff Bezos being the CEO of Amazon. I'm like, people are literally fighting for a living wage. But let me ask you a question. This is for both of y'all. I wonder if I can do two questions in one. Let me try it out. Do you think Trump will make a difference for black people? Or do you think Kamala Harris would have made a difference? Or does government just suck and you got to depend on yourself and do everything you can to survive?
Now you know the answer to that.
Right.
Now you know our answer to that.
Well, go for it.
One, I'm not even one that gets into politics.
Yes, I know.
I'm very, very, I hate to say it, very much ignorant to it. History, all
Yeah.
that sucks. But Kamala Harris, just off of her, like how she was trying to reach a certain group of people, it's just like, I wasn't feeling it. Trump,
Okay.
we already know Trump's card. We already know
Yeah.
Trump. We know what's up, right?
Mhm.
Now, y'all mentioned earlier that the immigrants went to go vote for Trump, which that kind of shocked me because he's about to get y'all up out of here. So
Yeah,
Right.
you didn't know?
so
Black women and black men came out for him. Yeah.
I wasn't follow I just
So,
I don't follow that stuff.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
don't.
a lot of, and the reason why, because Kamala Harris, she went into these barbershops and stuff to talk to these black men. They didn't want to do it because of her record of putting away black men when she was a prosecutor in California. Um, but you know,
You
some
can't be mad
people,
at that though.
huh?
You can't be mad at that though.
No, of course not.
You
You
can't be
know,
mad at that.
but you got to think to the black men. All right, he's in. Is he really gonna do what he said, or was it just to not have her be president? So was it a petty thing like, I don't want her to win? You know, I don't trust him. It's more of what is that saying? I trust the devil I know than the devil I don't know.
yeah, basically
You
that.
know, so
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And
Right. And honestly, that is what happened because we do all right, boom. Trump may not be for us, but we do know that when Trump says something, he's gonna do something, it gets done. It may not be in our favor, but it's gonna get done. So I
I
feel like
not
that's kind of what
always,
it was.
though,
Not always, but I'm just
because he
saying, like
does a
more
lot
than
of lying.
a lot of lying, but
He does he
but
every day, every day.
but
go ahead.
but over Kamala, they'll take that risk with Trump.
Yeah,
They're gonna take that risk with Trump. Just off of the fact of what you just said. When she was a prosecutor, she put a whole bunch of black brothers in jail. So off of that, they're just that, and then knowing that yeah, it's a 50-50 with Trump, they're gonna gamble with Trump.
I got one more for you.
Well, let me jump in on that one
Yeah,
too
go
first.
for it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I mean, I'm not like, this is not me caping for Kamala Harris at all. I'm just gonna say some people had some of their information wrong about her putting all these black men away because actually she had a lot of programs to help get some people out of
Hmm.
jail that they
Oh,
just didn't talk about. But a lot of us that goes to us too. A lot of our, not just our people, a lot of people in general just don't do research. So they
There you go.
just, the first
That's
little
the
thing they
problem.
hear, they go with it, or they see a little headline and they go with it instead of
Yeah.
actually doing research on these people. So that's something we, as all people, especially Black people, but all people need to do so that we know more about these candidates. But with your original question, though, would Trump have helped us? Would she have helped us? Or should we just do it, everything on our own? I will say this, and I was talking to you about this yesterday, Derek,
Hmm.
that I have always been registered as a Democrat because that's,
Oh, I know
a
what you're
lot
about
of
to say.
Black people, and I've always been raised that way and everything. But as time has been going on, and as I've been getting more into politics and paying attention, historically, yes, Democrats do seem to do a little bit more for our people or for people in general. But the more I'm looking at this game, because it is all a game, they're still pretty much on the same team. One is a little worse than the other.
Say it again, Quentin. Is on about what?
They're they're both pretty much on the same team,
Oh,
Democrats
oh,
and
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Republicans. I mean, like, one may be a little bit better than the other, so to speak, when it comes to our benefits. But at the end of the day, it's not like Democrats are really doing that much more. Because every time there's opportunities for them
Unless it's
to
like that.
lock things in, like how they could have locked in Roe versus Wade so that they wouldn't have taken away
Oh
women's
yeah.
right to choose. They had all this time to lock that in, never locked it in. Why? And they always do stuff like that. Or this is a simple example. Recent. President Obama and President Trump sitting next to each other at President Carter's funeral
Yeah.
and keying together.
Yeah.
I know it's one thing to be polite, but there was a whole lot of laughing and grinning for two people who supposedly hate each other.
Hmm.
Really, what is that about? Because at the end of the day, they don't hate each other the way that it appears that they do. They're still in the same club together.
Hmm.
Democrats, Republicans, all those politicians are still in the same club at the end of the day that we're not in. And we, as the regular people, need to start to realize that. So we do need the government because actually the government is supposed to work for us. We pay taxes. That's what they're actually there for. But we need to realize too and stop butting heads so much with
Yeah.
each other, Democrat, Republican, everything down here, because at the end of the day, we actually are the power down here. We just don't realize it because we're too busy down here fighting each other.
And what's funny, this country didn't want no dictatorship. We moved away from the United Kingdom. Or somebody quote me if I'm wrong, but we
Hmm.
still have a country within each other, still fighting red versus blue. It's literally a game, Crips versus Bloods. It's when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
There's a book about it called Crips versus Bloods. Um, Alexa, I have one last question before I let you go, and I heard this a lot. I heard this a lot during 2024. Are you better off now than you was when Trump was in office?
I mean,
Financially, because for some odd reason, people kept saying, yeah, we had a lot of money. And so I'm like, bro, he gave like one stimulus check, $500. Relax, if that's what you're talking about. And I think,
honestly speaking, I really don't see no difference. Like,
yeah,
I'm speaking, like, a lot of stuff that goes on that's really talked about, like, has it really directly affected us yet? Like, I feel like I was talking about this with my coworkers too. Then I was just like, it could just be me because I really don't pay attention type thing. It could just be me. So, but me personally, I don't really think it's affecting me in any way. I
hmm
feel like I still, we all in debt. Let's be we all in debt.
Facts.
Like, let's
Facts.
be for real. Like, we all in debt. I just make sure my regular check covers all my bills. I do my overtime to go do my crap outside and do whatever. I really haven't seen no difference. Like, I really haven't. Even with the price, like everything going up, I still haven't seen no difference. Honestly,
yeah,
like me personally, it hasn't directly affected me. Like, I'm not gonna say bad. Gas wise, yeah, I'm fighting to go find some cheap gas. Um, cause I do a lot of driving, so $60-$70 in my tank is that's a lot.
Well, do you
That's a
think
lot, but
he
like
can really bring down inflation then?
it still won't be a difference. Like we'll see the prices and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll see the prices and stuff maybe drop, but it's not gonna drop as much because if it drops that much, then they're gonna have to drop our wage. You feel? Then they can't do that. Like I said, minimum wage and inflation is gonna go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So even though minimum wage is going up, inflation is going up. They still gotta make their profit. They still gotta put money in their pockets.
And you know what you're doing right there, Alexis? Quincy, you know what she's doing?
What's she
She's
doing?
getting the knowledge and she knows what's going on, and white people are scared of that. They don't want you to know what's going on. They want you to be sitting on the TV, collecting an unemployment check and stuff like that. She's not like that. She's a hard worker, and I can vouch for that. And they don't want you to know
I need
what
unemployment right now. Sheesh.
what's going on. I'm giving her credit, and she's
I
taking
know
the
that's
credit
right.
back. She said, "Hey, I don't mind that one, you know." But I definitely understand you, and when it comes to Black people, we just got to look out for each other, look out for ourselves as well.
But that's what we're not doing that. So
We're not doing enough of that
starts it
either.
start it
No,
starts with us to do it, and then it's just like we don't trust us. Like we don't trust us. We don't trust
we
us. So
don't.
it's like we're gonna, like our work environments and stuff. Nobody trusts anything. Like you're really just out here, like I was talking about earlier, the people getting stabbed up, burnt up on the trains and stuff. I worked for DHS. Like I was front on the train seeing that. So like I see people on the trains and you'll never know. It'll be homeless people on the trains. They're overdosed and dead and they look like they just sleep.
Hmm.
I done seen dead bodies on the train. You see a lot of weird stuff on the train at night. A lot of the stuff that they're trying to implement and Mayor Adams is trying to say like a lot of the outreach workers are doing. No, New York was a right to shelter state. Everybody came here. They fled here. They didn't have to fight to get over nothing. They walked right on
They
through.
they they opened up the
Mm,
doors.
I
They,
seen
yeah,
videos. I seen videos. You got families hiking through waters. If they dropped their kids, they didn't turn back for their kids. The kids was gone.
yeah.
Like they came here to
wow.
America thinking that yes, it's if if y'all want to do an episode just talking about that, I got you with that. Got you with my expertise with that. Like,
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
but that's
Yeah.
if y'all want to. But just to say, like, it was really easy for them to come in, and y'all mentioned about I don't know which one. I think both of y'all did. I think Derek, you started it, and then Quentin, you finished it. But when y'all was talking about how you guys will help they're helping the immigrants, but what about the actual people that are here
Yeah,
and how they started moving out
Mm,
and stuff? Now with that, and then I'll stop. But with that, that's
take
why
your
you're seeing
time.
that's why you're seeing a lot more homelessness on the trains. Like
Yeah.
they're on the trains with y'all now, like in the
Hmm.
day. Before it was just at night. During the day, you're seeing it now, and that's because in the shelters, the immigrants done once like basically in the shelters they have 11 o'clock curfew. You miss curfew, your property gets packed up. If you come back and there's availability, you get your bed back. But because of all the immigrants, they started filling up all the shelters. So now
mm,
a lot of shelters that were for New York City's homeless people were becoming shelters for immigrants because they ran out of space on what island is that? Randall's Island,
Yeah,
Randall's
Randall's
Island.
where
Island.
they have all
Yeah.
the they ran out of space there. Y'all know the cops was getting beat up left and right there. There's no consequences for the homeless people. Where they sending the disappearance ticket to, where they sending the cops to, they're not sending it nowhere. You're not gonna find them.
True.
So they was pushing once they lost their beds in the shelter, like the regular homeless people lost their beds in the shelter, the immigrants took the beds. And because the immigrants really want to live in New York and live here for whatever reason, it's not cool here, but they want to live here, they're doing what they have to do. And that's why you guys are now seeing homelessness on a increasing rate every day because they're helping these immigrants. And let's be for real, they're not. New York lost mad money helping these immigrants.
No,
We
you're right.
lost a
And a
lot of
lot
money
of them
helping
actually
these.
got
It was
sent
like,
here, though.
huh?
A lot of them, a lot that influx that came, a lot of them got sent here, like from Texas. Well, actually from
And
Texas.
Yeah,
and
Of
keep in
because
mind
course,
they
they
they was
didn't
was
have a
also
going
choice
through
though.
there. That's
they
what they
was
was going through.
they was also getting these cards. I think there was like
thirteen
a
The
hundred
food cards.
dollars. And let me tell y'all something. They didn't
Yeah,
have to provide no IDs, no nothing. All they had to do was
that's
say was
true.
their name was Jose Garcia, and Jose Garcia got a card with $1,300 on it. Nine
Yeah,
point. Don't quote me, but like $9.7 million a day was going towards these immigrants. That's where our
hmm,
tax money was going towards
yeah.
9.7 million a day. And the shelters that they was having open up, I actually worked in an asylum shelter as well. We don't make money off of the immigrants. So the company
Hmm.
actually lost money turning some of their shelters into asylum seeking shelters. So now I don't know if y'all noticed, they took like schools, like closed schools down and got
yeah,
some kids
and
to
put them in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
and
house
put
them.
them in the schools. Yeah,
Come on. Now you're forcing people now that's more of the minorities work in the welfare system now because they can't work because they have nobody to watch their kids. They can't afford to do daycare because they had to stop working. Like everything,
affects
it's
other
it.
things.
I
Yeah,
no, I couldn't agree with you
So
more. But come tomorrow, we'll see what happens because Chicago is supposed to be the first state to get ISIS deporting some migrants. I don't know why Chicago's first when New York's been hit the most.
because you know why? They gotta
yep,
prep
yep.
New York. They have to prep New York. You see what happened on Randall's Island
Hmm.
in them shelters. Them shelters up there was a lot of, and there was a lot of us up there too, like regular New York City homeless resident up there as well. And them shelters up there was ridiculous. I hated dropping clients over there. Hated it.
Mm.
Hated it. Hated it. When I say they ran them buildings, they ran them buildings. Swartz, a whole bunch of those shelters, all immigrants. The immigrants are basically like on cots on the floor, and that's basically it. That's basically it. They get thin little sheets and papers, and they get little ADL kits, and that's supposed to hold them over. The cops are getting beat up left and right. There's no consequences for them. When they was doing the rotation for the immigrants, when they was giving them like that 60 days, and then they had to go if they didn't find no place to live, basically what they was doing was just trying to flush them out, but not realizing all they're going to do is come back across the borders because it's open. And that's all they was doing. They was leaving and coming right back. So they got money to go places like basically Mayor Adams funded, well, not him, but a lot of money went to funding these immigrants and flying these immigrants back to destinations just for them to come back to the states.
Mm.
Believe it or not, they was giving them, like, they'll give them an address. Like, we didn't prove anything. All they had to do was give us a name of an address they're going to, like that, the person's name, the address, zip code, and a phone number, and that was it. And they bought them a bus ticket, plane ticket, whatever, and sent them on their merry way. And then they literally came right back. They waited 30 days and came right back.
Yeah,
So,
It's a larger problem with so many different moving
mm-hmm,
parts to work through.
I feel
mm-hmm.
That's
like
for
you take
sure.
care. Listen, if people want to come into this country, do it the right way. Do it the right way. Do the paperwork and everything. Do it the right way. But don't drop a bunch of people who are undocumented here, and I guess New York would be in a sanctuary state. All right, cool. We got to take care of them. What about the homeless people? What about the mom trying to figure out how to support her family? She's a single mom. What about them? Focus on the actual American New York citizen. Period. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens the next coming days. I don't even want to. I'm trying to see 2028, but Democrats first, they got to get their stuff together because I don't even know who's a top contender. Kamala, I don't even know if she wants to do it again. Excuse me, apologies. So we'll have to
Probably
see.
not.
All we know is that day by day, we have to keep doing what we have to do, walk in that path that's been carved for us. 'Cause each and one of us are black kings and queens, whether they want to hear it or not. I'm letting anybody that listen, black people are kings and queens. You heard it from Two Tall Podcasts. That's what we are. But we have to act like it. We have to look like it. We have to show them this is what we look like. Whether you like it or not, we have to live in our authentic self. You feel me? Um,
Hmm.
So that's what we're gonna do. But what we're gonna do now, Alexis, because I know you are a busy person. I'm surprised I even caught you on the show. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to just give me a little bit of your opinion. You gave me a lot. A lot, so
Thank
much.
you, Alexis.
You're welcome, and nice meeting you, Quentin. And thank you guys for
Nice to meet you
having me.
too.
No problem.
Of
Oh, and you'll be
course.
back. Quentin, I
Yeah.
want her back for when we do Kim.
Oh yeah.
We do
That'd be
next
good.
month. We're gonna be doing
Absolutely.
like a little. What are we doing, Quentin? Like a Valentine's Day
Uh,
special type stuff.
kind of like a yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. She made a face.
Three
So
Japanese.
yeah.
You're
So we'll
like,
have you
okay,
back.
uh-huh.
I love people who I love women who are vocal and speak their opinions, and you are not the one to be, put baby in the corner. That's not you. That never will be you. You're gonna speak your mind whether someone likes it or not. That's you.
I gotta calm down now. Cost me my job. You know what I'm saying? I calm down. Got me out of work right now. Sometimes that.
Oh yeah, sometimes it could come back to haunt you, but you just were
Yeah.
speaking your truth. So hopefully the First Amendment still lives in Trump's new country. Well, actually it does because he actually passed a law that says no more censorship on Facebook and stuff, so you can say whatever you want without being
Yeah, I
censored.
know. I haven't been in jail lately. I know. Have not been to jail.
There you go.
All right, Alexis, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much. I love you,
All
sis.
right,
You are
guys.
Thank you,
Love you.
Alexis.
Nice meeting you. Have a good one, guys.
You
bye.
too.
Laters.
Bye.
Ah, that's my homegirl, man. I swear.
Yes, I
That was
like
good.
Alexis. I like Alexis.
You like
Very
every
opinionated.
woman. Are you? I feel like low key, you trying to be bisexual because
I
you
know.
like
I
him,
honestly, I
you like
love women.
Alexis.
I love women. I love
Uh
black women for sure. I
I
just
know you
love
do. I
women
know you.
though.
I'm playing with you,
Yeah.
but that was. I told you it was gonna be heavy. It was gonna be a heavy episode, and we was talking some real stuff. Next week we'll make it light.
Lighten
We'll
it
make
up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Everybody watching, I just want to let you know. Trump is in.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna change. If you're thinking something's gonna change, I like to think there's two Americas: white America and a black America. White America is about to benefit, especially the billionaires that sat up there with him. CEO of TikTok, CEO of Amazon. Uh, Somebody else was up there. I'm gonna get in a platform. Facebook. Mark
Yeah.
Zuckerberg. He looks like somebody can
All the
bully.
big billionaires.
All the billionaires. But you gotta just keep pushing through. You gotta keep living your life and depending on yourself. Because don't think government has forgotten you. I think government right now, government is just a little bit different than how it was under Biden. But you know, just keep living your life and finding ways to make sure you win. Don't try to help them out. Just find ways to make sure you win. Um, Before I go, I want to
Yeah.
leave with two quotes. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent and about things that matter. The next 4 years, Trump does something wrong, you call him out on it. You speak your mind, you speak your opinion because he bullied the press in the first term. I don't think he should be trying to bully anybody no more. Yeah, he's powerful, got the House, he got the Senate, but keep being vocal, protest, speak out against his gratitude, his rhetoric. Um, MLK advocated for individuals to voice their opinions on significant changes, and that's what we have to keep doing. We have to keep voicing our opinions. The White House is the pinnacle of America, but just being a governor, your voice can be heard. Just being on here, your voice can be heard. You never know who's going to be seeing this episode right now. Um, so you got to just still be vocal. Don't get distracted by the social medias, the TikToks, and all that other stuff. Don't get distracted because then you lose. The moment you get distracted, you lose. So, um, Quentin, anything you want to say before we say good night?
Yeah, I'll pretty much say the same thing you said as far as we've got to keep going, keep moving, life is going to continue.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're alive, life is going to continue. We got to keep fighting. Also, we got to pay attention, though. We've got to look at our local elections. That's very important. Paying
Those are
attention to
important
your
too.
local elections. They're actually more important because that's where it all starts. Those are
Yeah,
the people who are really making the
Elon
rules
Musk
and
said
stuff
like
like
this
that.
is Elon Musk said they started culture. He was like, this is the most important in an election. Everything else is not important. No, each one of is very important because those people you put in, the people you put in for the presidency, they got to have the right people to pass those laws and stuff. So whatever Trump is trying to do, you want to have the right people in Congress who are going to actually, look at those laws and say, I don't know, Trump, I don't agree with that. You know, so those people that we put into Congress, those senators and stuff, it does matter. Even being the mayor, it definitely matters as well. Governor matters as well. Um, so yeah.
All of those, and also judges and everything too.
Oh
Those
yeah.
things really, because those people actually make the laws and the rules that affect us most directly. So we got to pay attention to those things, and we have to keep calling out all these politicians when we see them doing stuff, no matter what side it is, whether it be Republican, Democrat, whoever. We have to call them out, and we have to stay on them because the sooner we learn that we actually have the power, we as the people are the only reason why any of them are even in there to begin with. So we just need to learn that and stick together.
Way I put it, have a mindset like Martin Luther King. He was a troublemaker to some people, but he got a lot done. So be a troublemaker for a good cause.
There we
That's
go.
enough from here. Me and Q are out. I want to thank everybody that did watch the show, and hopefully you like, share, and subscribe. See, Quentin,
There
I'm
you
starting to
go.
say
Like, share, and subscribe.
we'll be back next Monday. We're gonna do part 2 of gay culture, and I'm hoping we have a special guest. We're gonna work on that. Do our first collab with a certain podcast. I'm not gonna say it because I want to make sure it's confirmed. You
Right.
know, so we'll see what happens. I want to wish everybody a beautiful best night and back to work tomorrow.
That's right.
All right.
Everybody, one love.
One
Stay
love.
blessed.
Have a good night.
Good night.